took some chances. But Bob was always a defender and a supporter, and he always had the resource as the priority. He didn't get into personalities. You very rarely ever heard Bob say a bad thing about anybody. He was just always positive all the time. He's still positive. I went and visited him last night, this morning, and I mean, how could a man be dying of cancer with cancer throughout his body and be so positive? He's just amazing, and he's inspirational in that way. But I met Bob first in 1983. Walked into his office, I think it was July of '83, and I just had an idea to help eagles. I had just read a newspaper article in the Tennessean about, well, it was a picture on the front page. It had 24 eagles laying side by side that were shot by poachers in the Dakotas. And I was working on some entertainment projects at the time, and I just was stunned by the photo. And being a kid that grew up in the country, spent a lot of time in the woods, and just loved animals and wildlife, I just couldn't believe what I saw. So right away, I called up the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency and just never called there before, and said, put me on the phone with the guy that knows the most about eagles in the state of Tennessee. Of course, they sent me directly to Bob, and he spent probably a good hour on the phone with me, telling me that eagles were endangered and there was very little money to help eagle programs in Tennessee and elsewhere, like Gary was saying. And then from that point forward, we just continued to work with each other. And he took a lot of chances on ideas I had and things that I'd never done before. And I truly consider him to be an angel put on earth to help me, because he was amazing. And he's still that way today. Due to Bob's efforts, of course, he's been involved in protecting a lot of endangered and threatened species, everything from snail darters to songbirds. But, eagles were a big part of his life, and he started the Eagle Recovery Program in Tennessee in 1980, I believe. And at that time, we had no nests in Tennessee, eagle nests in Tennessee. And as Gary was saying, Bob figured out a way to be resourceful and get the program going by cooperating with various parties, volunteers, and different companies and such. And so as a result of that, we now have about 143 successful nests in Tennessee. And we've hacked out over 360 eaglets statewide, which is more eaglets than any other state has ever hacked. And of course, that was all started by Bob, and nearly all of it was coordinated by Bob. And so he's really leaving a legacy behind to his family and to the country. And of course, then Bob has been recognized by people around the country, other eagle experts around the country, state, federal, and private. All highly respect him and for who he is. He always gave people the time of day, and no matter who called his office, whether it was a silly question or whether it was about a little tiny animal that there was plenty of, or whether it was an eagle, Bob gave everybody the time of day and gave them a lot of detail, made sure he'd follow up with emails or send them materials. I mean, he just always went beyond the call of duty to make sure that people were educated. And I can't imagine how many tens of thousands of people that were touched by a Bob Hatcher email over the years. And you usually got more than a couple sentences. He was just very much a detailed guy, and he wanted to make sure you had all the info. I feel honored to be here to honor him this morning. The eaglet that we're going to release this morning is a captive hatched eaglet that we at the American Eagle Foundation at Dollywood, we have 7 pairs of eagles that are disabled. And the Fish and Wildlife Service allows us to release them into the wild in East Tennessee to help recover eagles, because they're paying the bill and they don't, they're not concerned about. But they do want us to continue our work. And of course, this eaglet that we were releasing this morning, which we're naming Hatcher's Legacy, and he has a petagil tag on his wing, which you'll notice it'll say HL2 or HL4. And the 4 stands for 2014. But this eaglet was hatched by one of our pairs, and we had it in the hack tower. We were going to release it from there, but we thought there might be something wrong with it. We heard some bone cracking or something. It ended up being not significant, but we took it back to the facility to get it checked by our veterinary people, which they okayed it and said, no, it's no big deal. And we put him in our flight cage for the past week. So he's actually been flying. He's got flying skills already. And so we thought, since the timing of it with Bob's situation, and this having been an approved hack site before and a great location for eagles, I forget how many we released here at Scottsboro. About 3 miles from here on the river, we had the hack site we called Scottsboro, and I know we released quite a few eaglets over the years here. And so this is fitting not only because Bob lived across the river, he's here, and all you people live right here, but I think it'll be great habitat for this.